Hi TIs, this is Renata. I wanted to do this video on methods that I use to attempt to counteract the neuro-linguistic programming that is being done on most targeted individuals. We have to counteract that if we want to stay true to who we are. We're going to have to do things to try to overcome the mind control. So I wanted to share some of this with you. Now, it may not work for you. This is something that I put together for myself. So you're welcome to try any of it, some of it, or all of it. Totally up to you. I just thought I would share it because it has been helping me to get a little stronger with this and to move forward with my life and to get rid of some of the fear, because as you know, this is a fear-based program based on traumas, continuing traumas. And so if we want to stay our authentic selves, we're going to have to do something to counter the programming that they're doing to us. So for me, I started to not only notice the tactics that they use. I get a lot of the stalking. So I started to not only notice, the different things that they do when they stalk you, and I don't need to go into that because if you get the stalking, you know all the tactics they use on you. It varies from person to person, so I won't go through all of that. But I also start to take note of the methods that they use. And what I mean by that is that I notice that the main method they use is repetition. It doesn't matter what they do to the target. The stalking, the sleep deprivation, the voices, the pain. Some TIs get pain, some get burns. It really doesn't matter what they do. We all know that they do it relentlessly, that it just never seems to stop. It seems to be around the clock. You could be anywhere. Some TIs get it at church. One person says she gets the voices in her head while she's at work. So it makes it very difficult for her to work. It's relentless. I think just about any target will tell you that the campaign against them is nonstop. It may lighten up a little bit at times. You may have a little peak of peace in there somewhere, but for the most part, it's pretty much nonstop. So I decided I needed to figure out how I'm going to be able to take care of myself through all of this. And so I decided to put a strategy in place for myself to counteract the programming. So I'll tell you what I've learned through research, through talking to other TIs, and through my own targeting. Mainly is where I'm getting this information from. I just put something together for myself that I want to share. So this is what I came up with. Our conscious minds, which is the mind that we mostly operate from on a day-to-day basis, it stores information. But there's limited space in our conscious minds to store all of this information that comes in. The things that we talk about, the experiences that we have, and in the TI's case, the programming that's being done. So our conscious minds has a small amount of space. So that overflow of information, what can't be stored there because it's not large enough to store everything, it flows over into our subconscious mind. So our subconscious mind can be thought of as a storage unit. Okay, so you can think of your subconscious mind and your conscious mind as two different compartments. And what the first compartment, the conscious mind, can't store, it flows over into the subconscious and it sticks there. That's where the storage area is. And that's where all of your long-term memories, some of even the short-term memories, things that happen in our lives, good and bad, our belief systems, our thoughts, all of your memories, everything is stored there in the subconscious. And when your conscious mind needs to retrieve this information, then it retrieves it from the subconscious. So all of our emotions are stored there. When we get triggered through our subconscious. Now, this is all based on my understanding. Okay, this may not be exactly the way a scientific person would explain it, but this is based on my research and my understanding. So you can do your own research on how the subconscious mind works and how the conscious mind works, but this is my understanding of it. So once something is done, or once we keep doing something over and over, our subconscious mind gets trained in that manner. So when these people are doing these hate-filled, fear-based tactics to us over and over and over, that programming gets locked into our subconscious mind, and it sticks there. And our old memories and our old belief system, most people have their own belief system, whether it be religious or moral or whatever kind of belief system, those memories start to get replaced by this new programming. So eventually we learn not to trust, you learn to doubt everything, everything just becomes negative. There's a lot of fear-based stuff in there and just all of their junk that they're programming us with. So before you know it, everything in your mind is negative. It's all about fear. It's all about not trusting. It's all about hopelessness. And the good memories just kind of get washed out eventually with all this programming, especially if you've gone through years of it, and as I said, relentlessly, 24/7. So what I'm figuring out, if we don't want that to happen, then we're going to have to do things to counteract the programming so that we can stay true to who we are and our authentic selves. God said He created us in His image. His image is loving, is kind, is caring, is spiritual, and it's all good things. So we can't let them overwrite that. That's who we are. We were not created in Satan's image, which is what these people are trying to do with all of their programming. So in order for us, for this to be successful, we're going to have to take control over our situation. And we're going to have to work very hard at overriding the programming. And at times we're going to have to overwrite our own emotions, because some of the things that we need to do to overwrite this programming, is going to require that we be brave. And sometimes when you're trying to be brave, it could be a little scary, especially when they see you trying to be brave. They're really going to lay the fear on heavy. So I will preface it with, make sure in trying to be brave that you never, ever, ever put yourself in harm's way. You don't ever want to walk into a dangerous situation, trying to be brave, trying to deprogram. You don't ever, ever, ever want to do that. That's not what I'm saying here. But what I'm saying is, if it's something that is not going to harm you and just requires you to utilize that courage that's already in you, that's the key to deprogramming. But you're going to have to do it over and over. So I'll tell you some of the things that I put in place to help myself, and I can definitely see a difference. I've been doing this for a couple years now, and I definitely have taken giant leaps ahead with the targeting. So first and foremost, everything should be done through prayer and asking God for strength, for courage, for wisdom, for His power, and asking the Holy Ghost for guidance through all of this. Ask God to direct your path, to order your footsteps, and He will. We also need to do things that will increase our discernment, because we really need discernment of spirit to know who we're dealing with. You know, if you have friends that you have doubts about, you're not really sure about people in your circle or people you're coming in contact with, this is where discernment comes in. It gives you a better judgment. It gives you better insight. So we really need to do things to increase that discernment and that intuition. And those things can be increased through things like prayer, meditation, positive affirmations, positive self-talk, surrounding yourself with positive people. With the meditation, I will say I'm going to do a separate video on meditation. I've been doing meditation for years, and meditation has many benefits. I'll talk about that in another video. But for now, what I want to say about meditation is do your research on meditation before you do it, because there's hundreds, if not thousands, of different types of meditation, and some you may not want to venture into. I have recently changed my views on meditation, and like I said, I'll share that in another video. But for now, I'll just say do your research on meditation. But there are some good ones that you can find for free on YouTube. So to share with you some of the things that I do is I set my intentions. And I set my intentions in the morning. First, before I set my intentions, I acknowledge God every morning. I acknowledge God. I usually wake up with a song on my heart, so I'll sing and I'll pray. And I'm one of those people that do not believe you have to be on your knees every time you pray. I know some people think that you do, and you do whatever is best for you in your own spiritual life. I do get on my knees to pray, but I pray a lot, and I pray throughout the day. I send quick prayers up when I feel I need to, and I do long prayers sometimes. So it just depends on the situation and where you're at, because if you're at work, you can't do a 20-minute prayer. So you do what works best for you in the prayer area. But I do say a prayer in the morning. If I have time, I'll do a quick meditation. There are some meditations that I really enjoy, and they're short, 5 minutes. Some are 10, some are 15, just depends whichever one you prefer. But those can really set the tone for your day. They walk you through some very peaceful things. So do your research on the meditation. So once I do that, I set my intentions for the day. And what I mean by that, you can think of that as like a checklist. So I'll say to myself, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that, I'm going to go and talk to this person, I'm going to go and fill out that application, I'm going to walk over there and get lunch, I'm going to go to the store to buy some shoes. I just make a mental note of some of the high level things I have to do. Of course, you have to leave room for spontaneity during your day. You can't plan each and everything out, in detail. But the main things I want to get done, I set my intentions. And for me, that's like, it's like a checklist. If you're the type of person that needs to write things down and write it down, but I don't write it down, I just kind of make a mental note. And that's my way of making a commitment to myself that these are the things I plan to do. These are the things I intend to do. I might even say, I'm not going to go over here today. Maybe there's a place where I go on a regular basis. And I might tell myself, I'm not going over there today. Today I'm going to do this. Today I'm going to do that. This is a very important step, and I'll tell you why. The reason why I decided to start setting my intentions for the day is because particularly in the beginning when I didn't know how to handle any of this stalking. I would plan to go somewhere. Say I planned to go to the dry cleaners. But on my way there, I was stalked so heavily by stalkers, doing all these different tactics that they do, followed by the police, going there, coming back, because they've been involved in my harassment from the beginning, dealing with fire trucks with the fire alarms and the ambulance with the sirens and, all of the things that we go through when we're dealing with the stalking. So I would change my mind because of the fear and the intimidation tactics that they were using. It would cause me to not do so many things that I had intended to do. So I started to challenge myself, to tell myself, these are the things that I'm going to do today. And no matter what, if it's not going to harm me, I'm going to do these things. No matter if I feel afraid, no matter if I deal with anxiety, which I used to deal with really bad to the point where I would shake and sweat and all that fear-based stuff. And I would feel really bad that I didn't do the things that I wanted to do or that I needed to do. There are things in life we need to do. We need to do these things to keep our lives running. There are certain things we have to do. But I noticed that because of the extreme harassment that I was suffering, I wasn't doing most of the things that I wanted to do, to the point where I literally stopped coming out of the house unless I had to go to work or other small things that I had to do. But other than that, I was spending most of my time in the house out of fear. So that's when I decided I'm going to start challenging myself to try to get past some of this stuff, to try to just live my life like I know I deserve to live. So I started to set my intentions, and that is like a commitment to myself that you need to do this. You committed to doing this. It's almost like if you want to lose weight and you start to tell your friends, I'm on a diet. Well, once you start to tell people and once you start to make that commitment, it kind of makes you want to stick to it because you verbalized it. So I tell myself, these are the things that I'm going to do. And there are times where I set out to do those things that I intend to do, but I still deal with the stalking. I may still deal with some intimidation, and I may still deal with some fear, even today. But I still go through it because I made that commitment to myself. And that's when step number 2 that I'm about to tell you, that's when this comes in. So another thing that I do commonly is I say positive affirmations. I give myself positive self-talk. I quote scriptures. I say small prayers. That's where the prayer, not having to be on your knees, that's where that comes in. I'll send them up all day. If I feel like I need strength, I'll say, Lord, I need strength. Please help me to be strong right now. Lord, you didn't give me the spirit of fear, but you gave me peace. You gave me love. You gave me a sound mind. And if you gave me a sound mind, then I don't have to buy into these tactics. My mind is stable. I will say these things, and I don't mean you have to say them out loud. If you want to, you can, but you don't have to say them out loud because God hears. He hears our thoughts. And so I'll say these things to myself. One of the most powerful scriptures for me has been, we walk by faith and not by sight. And that is a scripture that I quote often. And that's because, as I was just describing these fearful situations that we walk into sometimes, I tell myself, I don't care what it looks like because I'm walking by faith. Faith that God is going to strengthen me to get through this simple little task that I'm trying to do that these people are making difficult. It's nothing big. I'm just trying to run to the store. It's not a big deal, but they make it a big deal, and they make it very difficult and very stressful. But I tell myself it doesn't matter. I'm going to feel these feelings if I have to feel them, and I'm going to get through this with God's help. So I'm walking by faith that I know the outcome is going to be okay. I'm not walking by what it looks like. So that's a very powerful scripture for me. We walk by faith and not by sight. Positive affirmations are wonderful. Wonderful. There's one that I like by Les Brown. Les Brown says that we grow. We should grow through it, not go through it. So you shouldn't go through an experience. You should grow through an experience. And this experience right here, we can grow through. I'm a witness to it. We can. So set your intention. Say your positive affirmations. Number 3, another thing that I do is I try to overwrite the negative programming with positive associations. So we'll go back to the grocery store because that's one of the places where they love to attack me at. And so I try to associate something positive, because if I think about going to the store, I will deal with anxiety and fear and all this trauma-based stuff will come to mind about the things they've done to me in the past at the store, and the things that I know I'm going to have to deal with when I get there, mainly with the employees. And so I have to overwrite that programming, because that's programming that has gotten into my subconscious. Remember, we talked about how the things that go into the subconscious, that's what sticks. That's that storage that's just sitting there. And it's retrieved when we need it to retrieve. So when I think about going to the store, those negative memories come out of my subconscious and come back to the forefront of my mind, my conscious. And so I have to overwrite that. So I try to associate the grocery store with something positive. And for me personally, I can think of some funny things that have happened in the grocery store when I was younger, and things with family that have happened in the store. And so I retrieve those memories. Now, say for instance, you are a person who goes to the park or to the beach. We'll say the beach. Say you go to the beach every week because you love water and you just love going to the beach. But every time you go to the beach, you deal with all of this harassment and all of this stalking and all of these tactics done on you. So you decided, I'm not going to the beach anymore. I just don't want to deal with it. I don't want to deal with that. And I've been there, by the way. I've been there many times where I just don't want to deal with it, and so I don't go. And we still may have those days, and that's okay. Just as long as you don't make that a habit. Just when you feel stronger, try to go to the beach. And again, as long as none of this stuff is dangerous for you, because you don't want to put yourself in harm's way. But so you go to the beach once a week, let's just say. And every time you get there, you deal with the harassment. You were followed all the way there. Just everything about going to the beach is stressful, negative, and you decided it's not even worth it. So you decide you're not going anymore. Okay. If you're up for the challenge, you might decide, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to go to the beach. But this time, I'm going to associate better days at the beach with this experience. So you might want to recall to your mind a time where you and a bunch of friends lit a bonfire and you roasted marshmallows and you had a ball. You played your music and you laughed and you had a great time at the beach. You want to remember that on your way to the beach. Now, when you get to the beach, you're probably going to deal with the stalking and things again. So what you want to do is when you leave the beach, you want to recall those pleasant memories again. So you're reinforcing it. You're recalling the pleasant memories before you get to wherever you need to go. And then you want to recall them again at the end of that trip so that you reinforce it. One of the most stressful things I used to go through was going to work. I would deal with so much stalking on the way to work, because I would drive and I would take the train. I would drive a certain distance and take the train. And it was a horrible, horrible, horrible experience. Believe me, it was a horrible experience. And when I got to work, it was even worse. And so I had to start putting these steps into practice just so I could get there and not be a nervous wreck. Because so many days I was a nervous wreck by the time I got there. And so by doing this has really, really helped me. This has really helped me. And I wanted to say too that, you really have to get to the place where you're not afraid to face your fears. You just have to face them head on. Again, I have to say, as long as it's not dangerous for you, because some people will, I feel like I have to keep saying that because I don't want anyone to try to be too brave, because you don't want to do that. You definitely don't want to get yourself hurt or, worse. But we do have to get to the place where we just face some of this stuff head on, and you'll see that it'll get easier the more you do it, because again, it's all in the repetition. It's all in the repetition. That's how they are able to program us in a negative way, by doing it over and over and over. So if we do these things over and over and over, it will get into our subconscious, just like their negative programming has gotten into our subconscious. And you'll see how you will begin to move forward with your life. It's not going to stop what they're doing, but it's going to change the way you're looking at it. And in the midst of this storm, you will see that you can have peace. You really can. So I don't know if I mentioned the music, but music really, really, really helps. I listen to a lot of music. I sing a lot. If you're a person that enjoys music and likes to sing, it doesn't matter if you can sing or not. You're your own audience, so it doesn't matter. That's not the point. The point is, singing is very therapeutic. Music is very therapeutic, depending on what kind of music you're listening to, because music does have frequencies too that can have a negative effect. But if you listen to spiritual music or uplifting music or motivational music or even instrumental music, it can be very relaxing. It can have a positive effect on you. It can be very uplifting. Depending on the type of music you listen to, it can be very empowering. One of my favorite genre, let me just say that, my favorite genre of songs is praise music. I really like praise music. I find it uplifting to the spirit, and I find it empowering. So that's my favorite genre. But I do listen to other types of music as well. And one of the songs that I really, really like is by Whitney Houston. And I believe it's called I Didn't Know My Own Strength. That song is very empowering for me because it talks about how she fell down, how she tumbled down, and she went through all these things. She says, but she didn't crumble. She says she broke, but she didn't. She didn't even say she broke. I don't remember how the song goes now. I'm trying to run it over in my mind. But she's saying, she crashed down. That's what she said. She said she crashed down and she tumbled, but she didn't crumble. And she's saying that she didn't know her own strength. She didn't realize that she was as strong as she eventually found out that she was. And we all know Whitney's story, that she went through a lot. And it's the same with us. We can crash down, we can tumble, but we don't crumble, and we are stronger than what we know. We just have to bring that out. They don't want us to know how strong we are. We have to take intentional steps to try to get ourselves in that strong place. Another song that I like, it's an old song that one of the TIs told me about, and it's called I Shall Not Be Moved. I don't know the year that song was created, but it sounds like it was created maybe like the 50s or something. But the lyrics are very powerful as well. And so just find things to just uplift your spirit. You have to do things to edify the spirit. Keep your spirit man alive. I'm trying to think if I mentioned everything I wanted to mention. I think I did. Challenge yourself. Just challenge yourself every day. Just challenge yourself to moving past this. Don't be content with the harassment that you go through. Don't be content with that. Don't accept that as your new normal. Bring yourself back to where you want to be. And when I'm really going through something, I will tell myself, this too shall pass. You have to look at the cup of life as half full, not half empty. If you have a cup of water and you fill it halfway, don't tell yourself it's half empty. Tell yourself it's half full. That's the positive. Think in the positive. Talk in the positive. Tell yourself that you're an overcomer. Walk by faith. Don't walk by sight. I'm telling you. If you walk by sight, sight will tell you that this situation here does not look good and it's impossible and that you should give up. No, you should not. You should always fight. Always. You should always fight. That's pretty much all I want to say. I do want to say too, look for growth opportunities. Always look for opportunities to grow. Like Les Brown says, grow through this experience. And try to remember the happier times, because there were some. It's just that they have replaced those memories. That's what you have to really understand. They have replaced those memories. And if they haven't replaced them, they're attempting to replace all good memories. And they want to replace them with nothing but trauma-based stuff. So look for opportunities to laugh. Look back at old pictures, at happier times in your life. Surround yourself with laughter, and you can pull up laughter on social media, on YouTube, stand-up comedy, cartoons, some kind of way to get yourself laughing. Surround yourself with beautiful things. Surround yourself with nature. One of the things I really like to do is enjoy nature as I'm driving or as I'm walking. Takes your mind off of all that junk they're trying to do while you're out there on the road or walking or on a bus or wherever. Surround yourself with it. Look at pictures of waterfalls, of beautiful flower gardens, whatever makes you happy. You're going to have to take intentional measures to reprogram yourself. You really do. Surround yourself with good people, with family and friends if you still have them in your life. I know many TIs don't have the same support system that they once had, but if you do have anyone that you still trust, that you're still in contact with, then connect with them. Even if it's by phone, connect with them. And I just want to, I think that's it. I hope I covered everything. I'll just give you a quick recap. Okay, so you want to set your intentions. And the reason why you want to set your intentions is because you're committing to yourself that you're going to follow through with what you plan to do for the day. So just think of it like as a to-do list. You can write it down if you like, or just make a mental note. I just make a mental note. Make sure that anything you're going to follow through with is not dangerous to you. I have to keep saying that. Don't do anything dangerous. You want to say positive affirmations, scriptures, positive self-talk, prayers, positivity. Keep the positivity coming out of your mouth, going in your ears, and going in your subconscious. You want to associate anything that you're about to do that may be stressful for you, that you may have doubt about. You want to associate that with something positive. And if this is a new experience, because the experiences that I mentioned, which was going to the store and going to the beach, those are probably things that you've done already. So you may have something positive from the past to associate with. However, if it's something new, say you're going on a trip or something, if you've never been there before, but it's very stressful for you just to even have to deal with going on a trip and taking the plane or getting on the road or whatever, you've never done it before, think of something, anything that you could think of to associate it with that is positive. Just anything. If you're going on a trip, you might want to think of, if you're going on a snow trip, you might want to think of yourself on the skis having fun. Just anything positive. And you want to reinforce that association. You want to associate the positive association before you get there, and then you want to reinforce it at the end, because chances are once you were there, you probably dealt with the harassment and stalking. So you want to go back to something positive to associate it with. The key is repetition, repetition, repetition. The same repetition that they're using with the NLP to program the target's mind is the same repetition that can work for you. It does not have to work against you. It can work for you, but you have to continue it. And again, this is something that I put in place for myself. Once I noticed the repetition, this is something that God led me to do for myself. So it may work for you, it may not. Critique it any way you see fit for your own targeting situation. But it really has helped me to move forward. It's helped me to be more courageous. It's helped me to have more self-confidence. It's helped me to ignore most of the tactics being used. It's increased my faith. It's increased my relationship with God. And I just wanted to share it because I think that it just might help someone else. So hopefully something was said that will resonate with you. And that's it. Just keep moving forward. Keep moving forward, TIs. Don't let them make you think that you have to settle for this, because you don't. You can have peace with all of this. You really can. So God bless you and stay strong.